All right, now that we have did a flowchart and tested our solution, now it's time to go ahead and code it. So we opened up HTML-Kit, get rid of the text, add the JavaScript header, and then I'm just going to grab my human algorithm and copy it and paste it between the tags. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is all my blank places in memory, and that is my input and the result of calculations. So I should have 4. So I'll do comma space, comma space, comma space, comma space, comma space, and then I'm going to hold down my control key and drag this one up. Select this one, hold down the control key, drag this one up. Select the next one, hold down my control key, and drag it up. Then total weight is the result of a calculation. So hold down my control key and drag it up. And then the last one I have is message. Okay, and I'll hold down the control key and drag it up. Alright, well, I have an extra comma, so I'll get rid of that and replace it with a semicolon at the end of my line. So now this is all my blank places in memory. So the next one is going to be my assumptions or assignments, which means that these next 3 have to start with var space. So I'll select it, hold down my control key, and drag it down 1, 2, 3, and then all I have to do is end each one with a semicolon. Semicolon, semicolon, semicolon. Alright, so that ends my assignment section. This is going to be my input section. I guess I got to use what I already typed, but I'm going to get rid of the word input. And I'm going to say I want to assign to weight writer 1 what's returned when I use my prompt to ask this question. And the question, of course, will come from my flowchart. So this is my first input, and I will select that, copy, and then go to HTML-Kit and paste it in. Then I need my default value. So it'll be, I could probably just 2 quotes here. But instead, remember I tested it first with 100 for each line writer, so I'll just start it with 100. Alright, and I'm going to get rid of these 2 input tags here. Alright, well I don't have to retype that whole thing, so what I'm going to do is just select the whole thing and drag it down twice after holding on my control key. And I just have to change then the prompts. So it'll be second writer and then third writer. Excellent. So the more I copy and paste, the more accurate I am and the faster I am. Alright, for this piece of math, all I have to do is a semicolon. And then I have my if statement. Alright, but after this input section, I'm going to put 2 slashes and then calculations. And now I have my decision. And all we have to do is take this decision and put it in parentheses. Wants to know what 2 values I want to compare. And that was right. Okay, and no semicolon at the end. But I do have to have a start brace, and I have to have a stop brace that ends this. And then I put a semicolon at the end of my calculation. That's the only place here I put a semicolon, not at the end of if or else. Okay, at the end of my else, I have a start brace and a stop brace and a semicolon at the end of my assignment. Alright, and I just have my output. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this up, put 2 slashes, and then bring this down. I have to have document dot write, open and close parenthesis, semicolon. All right, the same with this message. So I'm just going to go ahead and drag this, select this, hold down my control key and drag it down. And then select the end of it, hold down my control key and drag it down. So if I need a label, and I can go to my flow chart for that. Okay, so this is, I already have total weight, so I just select the rest of this. Go back into HTML kit and paste it between the parenthesis and total weight. That was not right. Alright, so right here. There you go. Alright, so that's correct. Now the only problem I have is that this message is not going to have a label, but I still need to have a break in front of it. So I can either put the break at the back of here, but it's always best to do it in the front. Alright, so I'm going to click on here, and then in quotes, I'm going to put the BR tag. So that ends up on its own line. Now remember, I can't, I have to have it in quotes. Alright, and then I have to join that with the message. Alright, so this should work flawlessly. So let's go ahead and run it and see. I got an error. Good. Alright, so on 14 I'm missing a parenthesis, so let's see what that is. And 14, oh, somehow this ended up being a brace. Alright, so we want this to be a parenthesis. And actually shouldn't have a space there, but that doesn't matter. Okay, now let's see if it's flawless. No. Okay, 17. Alright, lots of errors. Alright, and that's the same issue here. For some reason I could hit the wrong key. So this is going to be a brace. Closed brace. It's hard to see because they're so light. Let's try it again now. Is that a brace where I didn't need it? So it was 100 for the first writer, 100 for the second writer, 100 for the third writer, which means, oh, well, stop, do not write. Look at the size of that. So that's 100,100,100. All right, so what did it do? It joined those. So we have to go back and fix that. All right, and whenever we have it where it is joining instead of adding, we know the solution for that is parse int, which is, our problem is our input. So we have to go to the end of our inputs, press enter. I usually comment this as conversion. And then I'm going to have to convert each one of these into using parse int. All right, so let's go ahead and grab the first one. I'm going to go ahead and copy from the P because I need that for the parse. And hold down my control key and drag it down. Okay, I'm going to assign to writer 1 what's returned when I use the parse int function, open and close parentheses, semicolon. Now inside that parenthesis is writer 1. And how that works is, when we ask this question here, 100 text gets put into writer 1. Then when it gets down to here, it says, take the text in writer 1, send to the parse int function, which turns it into a binary 100, and store that in writer 1, because everything goes from right to left. Alright, so let's, how are we going to do this? Let's do it this way. I'm just going to take, oops, I'm going to start before the P this time, and copy drag this down. Then I'm going to use the parse int parenthesis and drag that down. And then the parenthesis, in fact, I'm just going to do it like that, and then do the last one. So this is for 3. Drag that down. Come on. And drag this down. Again, I'm copying by holding down my control key. Okay, and after the parenthesis, I have to put in writer 2 here, and I have to put in writer 3 here. Okay, and if you haven't heard it enough, the reason why I'm doing it this way is because this ensures I haven't made any typographical errors. And you can see I made enough errors without the typos. But by copying and pasting or dragging, copying, I can ensure that I am not putting errors into my code. Right. Like I said, anytime I type, I can put errors, and I didn't type much, and every time I did type, 2 times over here, I put in the wrong thing. Alright, so let's go ahead and check this now. This should fix everything. We'll preview it. First is 100, second is 100, third is 100. Now it's 300, and it's saved to start. And we'll run it one more time. Actually, yeah, I can put 300 in. Okay, 300, 300, 300, and this should be 900 and not saved to start. So we know this right now is working perfectly because we went ahead and we tested both sides of the if. And that's it.